Coke Studio. Yeah, I forgot the name. So Coke Studio is also one of the effective ways. How it is that effective? Because what I used to do long before when I started to learn English is that that's what I did while preparing for the listening test. When my opinion, if you are asking me which test should I give Mehul, then I'll absolutely suggest, and I will consider it as one of the biggest factor why I got this much bands.
Brother, show some nasty, nasty.
Okay, so welcome to this important video. If you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure that you already know how important it is to have IELTS scorecard ready in Canada, because you don't know, whenever you get a draw which might get you to the pathway of PR, you will find it handy to have a IELTS scorecard, right? Now coming to the preparations that I did, just to let you guys know, I scored overall 8 bands in IELTS, in which I got 9 bands in reading, 8 bands in listening, and then 7.5 in writing and 7 in speaking. Now coming to the preparations that I did, now there might be some preconceptions about getting 8 bands in IELTS, but from my experience I didn't do that much preparation, and this is not to sound humble or modest, but this is exactly the reality, because I was doing a full-time job here in Woodstock, so I didn't have that much time. Apart from doing overtime, I was hardly finding a time to do the preparations, but still I somehow managed to do the preparations using the Cambridge test online. Now if you have prepared already for the IELTS in past, which I'm pretty sure you have, then in that case you might already know there are tests of Cambridge for listening and reading that you can watch for using the YouTube videos, and then speaking is what you practice like regularly while you are in Canada. And if you are outside the Canada, there are lots of applications like Open Talk and all, where you can talk to the other people, unknown people in English, and practice your speaking test. But coming to the preparations that I did, I would suggest you that you use the Cambridge test only, because the level of hardness of the Cambridge test is according to the IELTS test. So if you are scoring good, then you can easily score somewhat similar bands in the IELTS. Talking about the questions, when you can book your IELTS test. In my case, I first booked the IELTS test and then started preparing for it, so that I have a preconception about the pressure that I would have about the IELTS test and start preparing for it. But you can also start first preparing for it, and once you find that you are scoring good enough bands in the Cambridge test, then you can go for the original test, right? There can be two of these approaches. And coming to the exact amount of preparation, I would suggest you not to go with the IELTS online website. One of my friends suggested to do the preparation using the IELTS online test, but from what I have experienced, the IELTS online website, it's not that much accurate for the preparations, and it's not up to the level of IELTS sometimes as well. So the Cambridge tests are the very accurate option if you are considering a good preparation for the IELTS. And talking about the preparations I did, I used to do like at least one test of listening and reading on a daily basis, so that I can keep up with the format of the IELTS, because English is something you can't just improve in 1 month time duration. It all depends on how used to you are with this language, right? But yeah, you can absolutely improve the way you perform in the test by practicing it as much as possible. What I found useful in my case is that I gave like not lot of, but yeah, I gave enough test for the reading and listening in a way that I knew what kind of questions I could be asked and what is the approach I need to use for that. So that's what I did. Talking honestly, I had a IELTS test on Sunday, and I was doing overtime on Saturday, so I didn't have enough time even before the day of the test. But what helps you the most is that IELTS is all about being totally concentrated on the day of the test. So I'll suggest you to take a good rest before the test and be as much as focused as possible in the test. In my case, that's what helped me. And the other thing is that when I was giving a test, there are two types of test, computer based test and paper based test, right? I'll suggest you to give the computer based test because that's what helped me, and I will consider it as one of the biggest factor why I got this much bands, because honestly the computer based test is, I found it pretty much easy compared to the paper based test. Because the first thing that I think about the computer test is that in a writing section it gets very helpful, because in a paper based test, if you are giving a paper based test, what happens is that you write a paragraph, and then just in case you don't want to use any sentence that you have written, then you might have to rub it and you have to keep counting as well. But in the case of computer based test, you can easily cut and like erase the things that you have written. You can easily keep the count of the words that you have written because there are counters for the words, so that helps you as well. And in the case of reading, the thing is like the reading, in the case of reading section, there is a paragraph here and you are writing down the answers here, so that helps as well, because the you don't have to turn pages to first read the paragraph, then turn the page back and then write the answer. That saves you a lot of time and keeps you focused as well, because you don't have to keep jumbling between the pages. The thing is that in the case of listening as well, you might have preconceptions about the computer based test, that you don't get enough time as compared to the paper based test. But I can make sure from my experience that the time is already enough and the pace of the speaking is good enough for you to have enough time for writing it down. So that's why, in my opinion, if you are asking me which test should I give Mehul, then I'll absolutely suggest the computer based test. And yeah, that is pretty much it that I have for the IELTS test. And giving you my honest story, why I didn't prepare much about the IELTS test, because I already knew that my English is comparatively better for the IELTS test, so I don't need to prepare that much hard. All I need to do is that get used to the formatting of the IELTS test, and that you can only do by giving as much test as possible in the Cambridge. I keep saying the online Cambridge test and referring to them because they are very good for the preparations, and the way they have made the test, it's pretty convenient as well. You can just use the YouTube online version where you can plug the earphones in and give the listening test by plugging in the earphone, keep the paper with you and write the right options down. That's what I did while preparing for the listening test. When it comes to the reading test, what I did is the same thing. You can download the PDF of the Cambridge and then write the options down on the paper and then compare them at the end of the test. And it doesn't matter, like I know when you are doing a computer based test, the things are going to be a little bit different, but after like once you start the test in an original scenario where you give the computer based test, after 3-4 answers you will get used to it. So don't worry about it that much, just start preparing in this way. When it comes to the writing, I'll suggest you that writing is a very specifically organized when it comes to the letter writing and essay writing. When it comes to essay writing, there is a specific formatting for that as well, that first you need to start with the lines which are written in the question, then you need to explain the your opinions, and at the end you have to give the conclusion. So everything is already pre-decided. If you want to organize your writing and later, there are lots of PDFs about that where the structure is given, and you just have to follow that structure and add your extra 1-2 lines and you should be good to go. Yeah, so that's pretty much it from my side about my experience of the computer based test. Also, I'm adding this clip just to let you guys know what are some of the effective ways which I have used to improve my English, which you can use as well before giving the IELTS test. Say for example, you have 2-3 months left to give the IELTS test, and these are some of the ways that you can use. The first and most effective way that I found is listening to the podcast, because for going to my job that I do the cycling, so I have like 15-20 minutes every time before going to the job. So what I do is like I listen to the English podcast like Ranbir Alabadia podcast and and there are lots of podcasts over the Spotify which you can listen in English. How that helps? Because you get used to listening in English, so it helps you in listening test as well. It helps you with the vocabulary because they use some words and phrases which you can use as well once you get used to them. So that is the first effective way that I'll suggest. The second effective way is listening to the TED Talks. I know you might have heard it a lot before as well, but if you are some person who likes to know about different aspects of life, self improvement and technology and everything that goes into this world, then you will find TED Talks very useful. So you can also watch some TED Talks as well. The third effective way that I would suggest, if you are someone who likes to know about global issues and what are some of the if you are someone who likes debating and all, then there is a University of Oxford or Columbia or Harvard, I'm not sure, but they have this YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description and also put a picture of that YouTube channel over the screen so that you can listen to those debates and improve your English. I would also say that English used in these debates is pretty much complex and very hard in wording. So if you are looking for something like that, don't go with this option. And the last and most creative option among all is watching these music videos of Coke Studio. Yeah, I forgot the name. So Coke Studio is also one of the effective ways. How it is that effective? Because what I used to do long before when I started to learn English is that Coke Studio has this option when you watch their videos online on the YouTube, their way of singing, like whatever language that is, like Hindi or Punjabi, they will sing in that language. But if you turn on the captions, then you will find that there are 3 lines. The first line is in English, the second line of the song is in Hindi, and the third line is in Urdu. So there are three languages available on the screen when you turn on the caption while listening to the song. So I find it very interesting while listening to the song to know the meaning of the same song in English, and that helps you with the vocabulary as well, because song is something that you keep repeating in your head, if specifically when you like songs like Afrin and all. So you get to know the meaning of Afrin and all. So I find it one of the most creative ways of improving English, and there are tons of songs on Coke Studio which you can learn in English as well. So that is one of the most creative ways that I used to use for improving my English. So that's pretty much it for the improvement of your English before the IELTS test. Do let me know if you have any more suggestions about the improvement of English. Thank you.